would like to do a little presentation here with you, a little bit of my guidance on how and when and why might I consider using an AI assistant, and how, when, and why I wouldn't, right? So AI assistants make my life easier and better, right? Can or should I use AI in my math classes? I'm specifically making this for Algebra 2 and Precalculus, but I'm sure it can apply to any class should someone else want to watch, right? And will the AI assistants help me with my learning and memory? How can I interact with them in a way that they might help me with my learning and my memory versus just making my life easier? And is that better? So first, I teach AP psychology in a psychology class, and we go into understanding our memory in a lot of detail, but I'm going to keep it very short here. Your memory is to help you survive, right? To find food, to get away from enemies, to have relationships with people, to be successful, right? That's what your memory is for. And when things are too easy, right, we have no real reason to make a memory, right? We have to think of our memory like our muscles. That's the joke of the picture, right? And we can have this expectation, right, that we are going to watch somebody work out their brain, right? The AI is the muscle, right? Is the man in the gym doing the weight training. And if you are just using it to find answers and make everything go very quickly in class and making your life easier, right? You are this guy drinking his protein shake with the expectation that the AI is going to help make him stronger. And this is a bit of a joke because I didn't make this using AI, right? AI has a place. It's fun. I can put in prompts and get it to make images and do all sorts of interesting things. But that's different than trying to have it solve my math problems for me or answer my, write my essay. So did you know that struggling while you're studying helps you learn better? And so I can give you the most basic example is when we put mice in the mazes, those who have very simple mazes that they can solve, so they learn how to solve the maze. It's very easy. They quote, learn very quickly. There's a delay time, and they're put back in the maze and they don't remember how to solve it. Versus the ones who are in a more complicated maze, they had to work harder at learning it. It took them longer. It was more effortful. They took them away from the maze for a while, put them back in, they remembered, right? And this is the same thing when you're learning. When something is difficult for you to do and you have to put effort into it, you're going to remember it, right? And that's our goal when we're taking a class. I know my kids say to me, I don't think I'm going to need this ever again. Why am I doing it? And I can't promise you that you're going to need Algebra 2. My husband says he doesn't use it a day in his life. But you will learn how to improve your memory if you make you do that. You'll learn what you need to do to learn something and to remember it, whether it is in algebra or literature or whatever. So it's not necessarily the right question, do I need to remember this for the rest of my life? The right question is asking, do I need to learn how to work hard so that I can remember whatever it is I may want to remember in the future? All right. And if we really think about this, messing up is part of that learning, right? Why can I worked so hard at basketball for 10 years. I can pick up a ball and I can still beat most people at 47 without picking up a basketball for a year because I messed up a lot. I fell down a lot. I trained my muscles to do something, right? We did this when we learned to ride a bike. We did this when we learned to walk. We did this when we learned to use a toilet, right? All those things where we had first attempts in learning, we failed. We are more successful later. And what I've noticed, I've been teaching online for over 10 years now, started in 2015, is that I used to see students make mistakes, turn in those mistakes. We would discuss those mistakes. QSI is amazing because those mistakes don't affect your grade. You learn during the learning process so you can do the assessments. Now, no mistakes. Everybody turns in everything perfect. Right? As if learning had no errors in it whatsoever, right? So don't be afraid to make mistakes. It will help you learn it and remember it better. It is harder, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't have the best outcome for you in the future. All right. Now, on making mistakes, also is this, I have far fewer questions being sent to me, right? I am here. Ask me questions. All of your QVS teachers are here to help you, right? We only know what you need help with when you talk to us, though. And the hardest thing about AI right now is it's amazing. I'm studying Hungarian, and every time I don't understand a rule, I will go to it, right? But the AI, it doesn't know if it's wrong. It's programmed to give you an answer. It's never programmed to say, well, I don't know. I don't have enough information, right? Sometimes it's having conflicting information. Sometimes it's having too much information, right? It doesn't necessarily know that it's wrong. There's no like, you can do this sometimes. If you see a wrong answer, you can ask it about it and they'll say, yeah, you're right, I didn't think about it like that. Like, it can self-correct if prompted, but it doesn't self-correct if unprompted. And I can give you a really concrete example of this. I had a student, the assignment was to write a question, and she did this presentation, and then she posed this question to everybody, and I'm sitting there and I'm solving it and other people are solving it. We're like, wait a second, we can't possibly answer this question. There's not enough given information to answer it. And the AI didn't realize that it gave you an unsolvable question. And she was quite embarrassed to be in a room where it was very obvious she didn't write it because she didn't know how to solve it and she didn't know what information was missing. Right? So be very, very careful about just saying, oh, it must be right. It's an AI. It's a superhuman, right? It's so much smarter than me. No, sometimes it is wrong. And this is why I really encourage you first to come to me with questions. Now, I do understand that we are working in separate time zones and that you might be working and I might be sleeping, or you might be frustrated that you have to wait a little bit, or you just might be curious to interact with different sorts of AIs. So if you want to help your learning and not just make your life easy, right? My goal is that I want to learn how to do this. I want to be successful. I want to go on to take Calculus AP or AP Statistics. And I know in those AP classes, I'm not going to have any assistance. So I need to be in charge of my own learning. Well, let's just look at how can we ask the right questions. First principle, show your current understanding. Instead of saying, here's the problem, tell me how to solve it, think, I think the answer involves using the Pythagorean theorem or using blah, blah, blah. I'm not sure how to set up the equation. Here's what I have so far, right? And then it'll force you to say, this is what I know. Here's how I've organized my thoughts. And I need some feedback on this part, not the whole solution. Again, same kind of idea. Ask for guidance, not solutions. Can you give me a hint? What's the first thing I should think about? Walk me through the steps of this problem, right? You're with the goal of learning it, not with the goal of just finishing something. All right, ask how and why questions. Why does this formula work, right? I really want to understand something. I don't want to just write down or memorize a result. How do I know when to use the method instead of that one? Can you explain a concept like I'm learning it for the first time, right? Make your goal to understand. I do this all the time with Hungarian because I don't understand. They have like 5 words for the word but, right? And so I'm trying to understand but, rather, instead of, right? All these different ways in English we say something, and it's very good at explaining why. But then I still sometimes go to a Hungarian friend of mine and say, hey, yeah, I was interacting with the AI. This is what it said to me. Is this correct? So that I further get better understanding. You can do that, right? You can show, I was trying to figure this out. This is what the AI said. Send it to me. I'm happy to discuss these things with you. All right, next principle 4, help me solve this problem step by step, but after each step, pause and let me try to do the next part. Tell me if I'm on the right track, right? Give me the first 2 steps and then I'll show you my work, right? Interact with it in a way that shows your goal is to learn something. All right, 5, ask questions on feedback on your own work. Here's my solution. Where did I make a mistake and why? I got this answer. Can you check my reasoning and suggest improvements? Compare my approach to the standard method. Tell me about the pros and cons, right? This will help your AI work as a tutor with you instead of just telling you the answer. It's not to make your life easier. The goal is to learn. All right. And again, if it doesn't make sense or you're wondering why is that so different than how we did something in class, send it to me. We can discuss it. All right. Bonus habit, after getting help, you can always ask it to give me similar practice problems, right? And again, if something doesn't make sense, don't say, oh, the AI knows everything. We can talk about it. All right, next part. This is very important. Quizzes, practice assessments, and projects. This is a time to not ask the AI for help. Do it turn it in. Let me see your work. Let me see if you're making mistakes. Let's discuss your mistakes, right? If I don't understand the mistakes you're making, I can't help you. And honestly, I think there's a little bit of guilt in everybody, right? When I turn in a perfect practice assessment that I didn't do myself, or I turn in a perfect assessment that I didn't do myself, and I fixed the mistakes with an AI, they did it, I didn't learn anything, or even if I knew most of it and this is where I didn't, I think we feel guilty about doing that, and it makes us less likely to learn from that mistake, right? So it's okay, right? I let you fix things. If you make a mistake on assessment, the first thing I'm going to do is say, can you explain your mistake to me? Right? I'm not going to make it. My goal is that you are learning and you're successful and you're going to be successful in your next math class. My goal is not to judge your learning or to say it's fast enough or slow enough or good enough. Right? We all learn differently, and I'm here to help you do that. But I don't know what's going on if you're doing the assignments I need to assess with an AI. All right, your brain, your life. I want you to really think of me as in a mentoring situation, right? I'm here to help give you direction, training and practice, support if you're feeling like I can't do it. Again, motivation, let's keep going, to continue help you setting your goals and to measure your progress with you. All right, I'm not here to catch you doing things wrong. Right? It is impossible for me to know what you do alone and what you do with an AI when you're working in your home. There are some few hints I get. I've seen a couple kids do it for a while and then get so lost that they can't go on further in the course, right? But I'm not a police at this. I am here to help you be successful, and we have to be working on this together. All right, last slide. I've lived by this principle. This is my principle in everything I do. Anybody who really knows me knows that I make my decisions based on this. You get to choose your heart in some situations. And then the heart will choose for you if you don't choose the heart at the beginning. So I choose to be disciplined. That's hard to do. But if I don't choose that, then I'm going to have regret, right? Do I want to have the one that I have no control over or discipline I can choose, right? Pleasing everyone is hard. Pursuing what you love is hard. All right. I spend time in my garden every chance I get. Dirty. I don't care what anybody thinks. I don't care if anybody thinks I should have nicer clothes or nicer shoes or do this or do that. It doesn't matter to me. Right. I choose what I love. That's the heart I choose. Anybody else can say what they want. Right. Indecision is hard. Trusting yourself is hard. Choose your heart. Suffering is hard. Asking for help is hard. Choose your heart. You have to ask for help in online classes. I don't know when you're suffering unless you tell me. Dealing with illness is hard. Adopting a healthy lifestyle is hard, right? I can choose the healthy lifestyle or I can deal with the illnesses that come later. And I made this part up. This wasn't mine, by the way. This part is mine. Doing math problems on your own is hard. Oh, I have an extra is there. Doing math problems on your own is hard. Feeling lost later in a math class is hard. Choose your heart, right? So I hope this is helping you see where you can use AI to help you learn, not to make life easy, not to make life better, but to help you do the things that are difficult so that you can be successful. All right. I hope we have a great year together. Thank you for watching.